Thanks for downloading and subscribing to the Clive Barker Podcast, the only podcast dedicated to the imagination of Clive Barker. In this episode 211, we go over news from the Reef. Gary Tunnicliffe discusses the future of Hellraiser, along with Candyman and Nightbreed news. This episode is sponsored by Don Bertram's Celebrate Imagination. Don Bertram's Celebrate Imagination shop is dedicated to benefiting the Arts and Medicine program at Texas Children's Cancer Center. Up to 50% of the proceeds will support the program where artist Don Bertram volunteers monthly. Please join us in donating to the program at Texas Children's Cancer Center. There's a link in the show notes and on the main website at clivebarkercast.com that will take you where you need to go to get one of his prints or art books and help out this wonderful program. There's a new book also that just came out from Don Bertram called A Chimney Sweep's Tale. So definitely check that out. All right, well, welcome. This is episode 211 of the Clive Barker Podcast, and I'm Ryan.
And I'm Joe.
I'm Rob.
Hey, and today we're going to be going through Clive Barker news. This is news from the Reef. And I guess to start with, we have there was an interview, right, with Gary Tunnicliffe where he was discussing the future of the Hellraiser franchise.
Yeah, and just the horror in general and where the state of horror. And he was just talking about how the Hellraiser franchise seems to be kind of it's with Jason Blum's company, whatever the name of that company is. Yeah. And they are interested in doing a new Hellraiser, but not at the moment. It seems they're more interested in Scream.
Oh.
The Scream franchise. Yeah. Scream franchise.
That would be weird.
That's funny. Yeah, go ahead.
It seems like, how can you redo Scream without Wes Craven?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that just sounds like it's doomed to failure, but...
Yeah, the Blumhouse has done some good movies. They've also done a lot of movies that just rely a lot on like stings and like scares and scary nuns and scary ghosts with white makeup and slamming doors. But I think that they're the ones who are actually making horror movies out there, and who knows?
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of remakes or reboots or whatever, soft reboots. So I feel like what I really would like to see would be something new about Hellraiser, some sort of new story to tell, instead of just going back to the same old Kirsty and Pinhead, or Pinhead and Frank, or whatever. It's like, this doesn't have to be Star Wars. You don't have to bring in the Death Star every single movie. Yeah. You don't have to bring Chewie and Han Solo and the Millennium Falcon. Don't keep bringing Pinhead and Kirsty and Frank, and I would like to see something new. Show us more stuff. They've been doing that many times. That's what it says in the movie, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good point, because it's the universe, or the hell and the hierarchy and the structure that we would want to learn more about. And and I think Gary Tunnicliffe did a little bit of that with Hellraiser Judgment.
Mm-hmm.
He did.
Yeah. And then he talked about Halloween as well, right, Rob? And you're a big fan of the Halloween franchise.
Yeah. I actually saw the new one, and I like the first part. The first time I saw it, I thought it was pretty good, but the more I've watched it, I'm not much of a fan on it anymore. I'm kind of like, it's not very exciting.
Mm-hmm. It was produced by Blumhouse, right?
Yeah. It was a Blumhouse production. Made a lot of money for them. I guess I'm glad for being successful, but
had some really good, strong moments at the beginning, but some moments were just so dramatic and so like hard to believe that would happen. Like when the two, what do they call themselves? Podcasters. They go to talk to Michael Myers, and for some reason they got the actual mask. I don't know how they got that evidence.
And they show it to
them. Oh, okay. And they go over to talk to Michael, and Michael's just standing out. And of course, they approach him from the back so they can have the dramatic, shot of not showing Michael Myers' real face. But it's like, of course, nobody would do that. They would go over to him from the front. So when I saw that trailer, I was like, oh boy. It was one of those things that I don't know, the yard with the checkerboard thing and the people like chain floor. It's like, that doesn't seem like a real mental institution, and no doctor let them go there and show them the mask and be like, talk to me, Michael, talk to me, Michael. And all the other, and all the other, mental patients are like spazzing out and going like, and it's, oh, wow. It is a strong moment though. It's a scary movie moment. It just seemed like nowadays we expect it to be a little more sophisticated than that. At least I'm speaking for myself. So, but some strong moments there. But like you said, there was a lack of tension in some scenes that I thought, maybe I'm just jaded with the Halloween franchise, but I don't know.
Yeah, of course. Didn't they have a hot tub that Michael Myers could turn up to 212 degrees and boil somebody in Halloween 2?
The second?
Yeah.
Yeah, he kills a nurse, I think.
Yeah, it was. That was a sick scene, man. Yeah.
Doesn't seem like a safe bathtub if you can like steam your crawfish in it.
Yeah. So, and then Rob, you put up a story here about the Days of the Dead logo that, with the Clive Barker sketch on it. They've made several different kinds of T-shirts. There are some long sleeve ones with colored sleeves, and there's like a hoodie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's
some raglan shirts, a blue and a red one, and a black T-shirt.
Yeah. So I think if I were there, I'd probably be getting the hoodie. That would be cool.
There's only limited quantity to these, so and pre-sales only through 1/16. So make sure you get those before you know.
Well, 1/16.
That was 3 days ago.
Yeah, 1/16 has gone by.
Yeah.
So I hope everybody got what they wanted. That's really cool.
It was being sold by atomiccotton.com. Oh. So check out the blog, check out Rob's article, and maybe there's still some available. I don't know.
And there was an article on was it Bloody Disgusting? And the author of the article kind of reached out to us on Twitter and said, "Hey, did you guys see this?" And he had found, what is this? Is it a comic book?
No, it's a y'all know the writer who wrote Clive Barker Shadows of Eden, Steve Jones.
Yeah.
Right.
Stephen Jones. Mm-hmm. He had a semi, I can't how you pronounce it, but it's a kind of like a horror fiction little magazine he produced.
A fanzine called Fantasy Tales.
Yeah, it's called Fantasy Tales, and that was
okay.
In the story, The Forbidden was actually first produced in this fanzine, and he had an artist named John Stewart. Just I guess commissioned some art that was of his, and he came up with an interpretation of Candyman, which is nothing compared to what the story is.
Right.
But it seems like this version, I thought it was really cool because it seemed like this mythic kind of creature. It almost looks like a bee in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got crazy hair and bees flying all around him, and the hook thing on his arm is really elaborate.
Yeah. But it's just more like a nightmare than very. So Clive Barker came up with something with that was kind of a sickly ghost.
So this came after the Books of Blood, but before Candyman.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. It's a really interesting interpretation.
Yep. So, like you said, before the Books of Blood, it made its debut, The Forbidden, in a horror fiction Fantasy Tales fanzine, and you said that he discusses this more in depth in the audio tracks that he and Kim Newman provided for both the Arrow Video and Scream Factory recent Blu-ray special editions. And then the columnist Jason Jenkins from Bloody Disgusting found a copy of his Fantasy Tales on eBay and took a picture of the Candyman illustration and posted it online. So now you can see that you called it the Wild Man appearance, Rob. That's really cool.
So this actually predated the Books of Blood then? I thought it was after. Okay. Wow. Yeah, I had no idea that this story was ever anywhere before it was in the Books of Blood.
I'm trying to find that Fantasy Tales right now, actually. I don't know which one which issue that was, but I'm looking at some listings here. I see that Fantasy Tales #2 came out in December 1st, 1990. So I'm kind of skeptical that it made its appearance here before the Books of Blood, because the Books of Blood came out in the late 80s, and the #2 of Fantasy Tales at least came out in 1990. So I guess I need to look into that.
I think 1 through 3 were like 84, and then 4, 5, and 6 were 85. I think, is that right? That's how I remember.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So anyway, it's a really amazing depiction of Candyman before Bernard Jones turned him into like the former black slave painter Daniel Robitaille, which to this day some people think that is actually part of the actual Clive Barker story, and it's really not. That was an expansion of that mythology and a kind of a reimagining that Bernard Rose did for the movie.
Yeah.
Although the bees were present in the Candyman in the story, so that's always been there.
And speaking of Candyman, Tony Todd is going to be in Chicago at a convention coming up really soon. So,
and he's going to be doing. Is this the one where he's going to be doing photo ops in costume as Candyman?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's going to be so cool.
Chicago Flashback Weekend.
Nice.
It's August 2nd through 4th, so there's lots of time for people to make arrangements to get out there.
Yeah, if you're living in Illinois, go to the Crown Plaza Chicago O'Hare Hotel in Rosemont, Illinois, and get your tickets, because there are going to be lots of cool people there. Bruce Campbell, Robert Englund, Ted Raimi, Melinda Clark, Alicia Witt, and I think Helen from the Candyman movie, Virginia Madsen, right? She'll be in attendance as well.
Yeah, well, and Ted Raimi was in that movie too, so they could do a picture, all three of them together.
Oh, shucks. I keep forgetting. Yeah, he's like the boyfriend, right?
Yeah.
That
his hair goes white or something.
Yeah.
The girlfriend says Candyman 5 times in the mirror, and then he just sees the blood coming in through a hole on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Oh man, I completely forgot he was in it. He's also in the Midnight Meat Train, right?
Yeah. He gets his eyeballs come out.
Yep. So check out Tony Todd in Chicago, and he's going to be doing photo ops in costume, which is something that is really cool, because Pinhead, Doug Bradley did that at the Phoenix Comic-Con, I think, and now Tony Todd is doing this in Illinois. So great opportunity to get a really amazing photo op that you can hang on your wall and say, hey, this is me with Candyman right there.
Yeah. So I was surprised when you posted this story. I didn't know that IMDb had a streaming, because they're owned by Amazon. So why do they have their own movie streaming? But anyway, Nightbreed, presumably the director's cut, you can stream on IMDb free drive.
No, it's not the director's cut. It's just the release version, because I went in there and checked, and it's just the theatrical cut.
Really?
Right.
I thought the director's cut kind of took over all of the, kind of overlapped the, that's like the new version.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure you can still find that one in streaming services, I guess. And you can still even buy the DVD, I think, right?
Yeah.
The theatrical one.
Yeah.
But that's cool, it gives a audience to this movie. People who Nightbreed may say, hey, it's for free on IMDb. I'm just going to watch it and see what it's like. So that's a good gateway thing to the director's cut.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what other movies are there.
Yeah. Have either of you guys ever heard of this before this story came out?
I had not.
IMDb free drive?
They had a lot. I looked at the list of some of the list of their movies, and they had like Night of the Creeps, Prom Night.
Oh.
This is naming off their horror movies. Exorcist, The Beginning, Single White Female. I mean, there was a lot of different, films from different genres, and it's pretty good, list of stuff.
Maybe we can find some of our A to Z of horror movies in there.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's like you don't have to sign up or pay for a membership. All you got to do is just sign into your IMDb account. Those of us who are, privileged enough to own one, hint, hint, and you can go there, log in, and you're ready to go.
Yeah. And the Nightbreed TV series, basically Phil and Sarah, I think Mark McCurley on what was that on Occupy
Midian.
Yeah, Mark McCurley said, "Hey, is there any news about the Nightbreed TV series?" And Phil and Sarah Stokes came in and said, "There's a huge amount of work going on in the wings. Mark, as soon as Clive's able to share more, we'll update one and all." So it's just a little bit of news basically saying, yeah, it's not dead. They're still working on it, which is good. It wasn't, the news didn't come out that long ago, so I really didn't expect to be able to see anything anytime soon.
I'm really...
Clive, give us an update. Yeah. We're waiting on that update, Clive. Just give us a call.
Yeah.
I really hope the show happens. I really want to see it happen.
Yeah.
Me too. I think Gary Tunnicliffe was kind of skeptical in his interview that you mentioned.
Yeah.
With Mr. Age. I think he was kind of skeptical that Nightbreed would ever turn into like a TV show, but they're making a pilot. So if everything goes well, hopefully we'll be able to get a chance to at least see the pilot and see another interpretation of what Nightbreed could have been.
That would be cool.
I know.
Yeah. So as far as the Kickstarter, I wanted to give everybody an update for people who have contributed. I have shipped out about 3/4 of the backer rewards. I'm just this weekend. I need to go out and buy some poster tubes, and I need to figure out how to go online to fill out the customs forms for the things that are going out to internationally, because I don't want to sit at the post office and fill out those custom forms by hand. So I want to be able to type them out and print them.
Yay, we got international listeners. That's always awesome.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, it's like a third of our stuff is international.
Oh, that's sweet. Have you ever noticed, do you get like insights on what the countries are where we're being listened? Have you ever noticed any like weird locations that might have people who listen to our podcast?
It's mostly England. There's like one in Portugal that might be your brother.
Could be. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a few in Australia, Canada, I think Mexico.
Okay, well that's pretty good. It's popular. Well, thank you so much to all our listeners who keep us busy here with the Kickstarter and supporting us through the Kickstarter. So you've been doing a great job, Ryan, taking care of these rewards. And we also started making some commentary tracks so we just recorded another one today, right?
Yeah. So that'll come out next week. So and that's for Dark Ditties, the offer, the first Dark Ditties episode.
Yep, we have a special guest, and you guys are going to love it when you listen to it.
Yeah.
On to do.
So I'm pulling up the show stats right now so we can see what countries people listen from.
I was just wondering if anybody listens to it like in China or Afghanistan or some other like remote, unexpected location like that.
Well, there's one in Saudi Arabia. 7 in India. 2 in Pakistan, 163 that's cool. In Australia, 13 in Russia, 1 in Finland, 6 in Norway, 50 in Sweden, 466 in Germany, got 56 in Netherlands, 1 in Belgium.
I don't think that's a real country.
129 in France, 25 in Spain. Oh, it's 21 in Portugal.
Oh, wow.
But I
that's
think
a lot of people.
That might be downloads. So,
could be.
Yeah, maybe that's your brother.
Mm-hmm.
And a bunch in South America. We have 28 in Brazil, 5 in Bolivia, Argentina 6, Chile is 3, Mexico is 12. My dad in Panama does not listen to us.
Mr. Danhauser needs to start kicking up his podcast game.
That's right. I think he just watches Fox News.
Yeah. Well, on the site, we have a few more episodes. Every week we put one up. So I'm sure everybody has been listening to those. If not, go check out 208. That was Coldheart Canyon. We also have 209, where we did the 2018 in review. Beyond the Limits. Rob, you made an article about a piece of Clive Barker artwork that you've done this before a few times, and this one is for a painting called Boner.
Yeah, and it's actually like a 2-part series, right?
Yeah, it was one of Clive's funnier pieces.
That was. Oh yeah.
But with Clive, there's always something deeper into it. I think it, other than being kind of poking fun at sex and death, there's something about the meaning of life in there as well, and death.
Right, it's a skeleton masturbating, and there's a few versions that you go through.
Grave. He's
I think the funny thing here at the end of the article, you say, I think the most important meaning you can take from Boner is that we should enjoy our time here on Earth while we have it, because in the end, we're nothing more than skeletons masturbating in a hole in the ground that awaits us. Well, that's if you're going to be cremated, it won't really matter.
Yeah, there you go.
So to me, this image is a kind of a duality, right, between fertility or sex and pleasure, and then death and the lack of physical existence. So he kind of mixes those two things in a way that's very unsettling and at the same time a little comedic. And it's a Clive Barker painting. It's always going to evoke some sort of conflicting feeling in you.
Yeah.
Of wonder and wonder and
desire and
that sort of thing. So that's a cool article that you put up. So go check out Boner if you're over the age of 18. If not, that's okay. You can read it too. We won't tell.
I just had to put the adults only up there just to be safe.
Yep. And another one that we did as part of the Kickstarter was the commentary track for The Last Movie Star with Burt Reynolds. So that one's also up. We started numbering these commentary tracks because, why not? They're part of the lineup of episodes. So we decided to start with this one, episode 210, 210, I mean. Yeah. So go check it out. It's a really good movie, and watch the movie first and then listen to it with us.
Yeah. Yeah, and then next, and after that, Rob, you did a Tuesday Tunes highlighting the final song in the credits for The Last Movie Star. Oh.
Yes, that was I love that song, the way it ends the movie, and it ends with Burt Reynolds smiling. It just kind of sums up all the themes of how that the themes of the movie and how that character comes full circle.
Mm-hmm. And you put in a lot of cool links there. You put the official music video. You got a little story behind the song by the Stranger Friends duo that composed it. So very informative.
They're a really good band. I would suggest I went out and they composed not composed but provided a lot of the music for the soundtrack, which you can get on Amazon. But there are also other songs they've done. If you go on YouTube, I highly recommend looking if you're into that kind of music. I'm into. My most favorite type of music, I love instrumental, heavy rock, metal, but also like this kind of, I guess, country folk kind of music.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So, I highly recommend, checking them out.
Yeah.
Stranger Friends.
Well, and Adam Rifkin, the director of The Last Movie Star, actually retweeted some of our stuff that we posted about this. So kind of cool.
That's right. Commentary.
Yeah. Absolutely. And coming up next, like we were talking about this earlier, we have a commentary track that's coming out next week with a special guest about the Dark Ditties, The Offer. And we will do more stuff, more commentary tracks for the Dark Ditties. And we'll have more news coming out.
Yeah. And this podcast, having no beginning, will have no end. You can find the show notes for this episode and join the discussion over at www.clivebarkercast.com, where we have news, features, reviews, and links to all the ways you can connect with us. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts and every other place you can find podcasts. Clive Barker Podcast, or BarkerCast, is an independent editorial, podcast, and news blog that is not affiliated with or under contract by Clive Barker or Seraphim Inc. This is a labor of love by the fans for the fans.
Thanks for listening.